Hello guys, Mike here, and I've got something cool for you today. Today we're back in the topic of Black Myth Wukong, and before you go bananas in the heat of battle, let's arm you with some combat tips and tricks that'll turn you from a regular old monkey into the ultimate kung fu legend. Whether you're here to dodge like a ninja, dish out some serious damage, or just survive the chaos, I've got you covered. Let's go in and make sure you're the one dishing out the smackdown instead of getting smacked around. If you're as excited as we are about today's topic, show some love by liking and subscribing to Retro Pocket for more amazing content. Dodging is your best friend. First things first, Black Myth Wukong doesn't give you a shield or a parry button to hide behind. Nope, in this game, dodging is your bread and butter. Your stamina bar is your lifeline, and learning to manage it is crucial if you want to survive. Dodging lets you roll out of the way of enemy attacks, and trust me, you'll be doing a lot of rolling, but don't just spam that dodge button. Timing is everything. Now, while dodging is the basic move, it's not the only trick you have. The game also introduces stances, which are more than just fancy poses. Each stance offers a unique way to dodge and counterattack, giving you an edge in battle. Pillar stance. Let's talk about the pillar stance. This nifty move lets you plant your staff in the ground and ascend to the top, giving you a literal bird's eye view of the battlefield. It's especially useful when you're surrounded by normal-sized enemies because, let's face it, sometimes it's nice to get a breather and take a look around. However, don't get too comfortable up there. If you don't have any focus points, more on that later, you might find yourself toppling down with a nasty loss of stamina. The pillar stance is also a great way to strategize. While you're up there, take a moment to observe your enemy's attack patterns. Just be aware that if your staff gets hit, you'll lose stamina and possibly your balance. But hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Next up is the thrust stance, specifically the offense in defense skill. This one's a game changer for those of you who like to stay in the thick of battle. The thrust stance allows you to perform a tactical retreat mid-combo, which is fancy talk for stepping back while still delivering a hit. It's all about timing though. Get it right, and you'll find yourself dodging less and staying in the fight longer. Instead of sprinting away like a scaredy monkey when things get tough, the thrust stance lets you stay close to the enemy, keeping up the pressure while giving yourself a moment to heal or recover stamina. It's a great way to maintain your offensive stance without losing ground. Now, let's talk about focus points. These little yellow bars at the bottom right of your screen might just be your best friends in this game. You build up focus by attacking enemies, pulling off perfect dodges, or charging your attacks. And trust me, you're going to want to keep an eye on this meter. Focus points are your ticket to unleashing devastating heavy attacks that can stagger enemies. The more focus points you have, the more damage you can deal. Plus, certain combos are more effective when you've got focus built up, so don't let that meter sit empty. There's also a skill called Endeavor that lets you perform combos without needing focus points, but be warned, the damage output is significantly lower. So, whenever possible, save up those focus points for when you really need to lay the smackdown on an enemy. Charged heavy attacks. Speaking of heavy attacks, here's a pro tip. Always start your fights with a fully charged heavy attack. Charging your focus quickly builds up power, but there's a catch. You've got to unleash it immediately, or you'll lose it if you get hit. This can be a bit situational, but once you unlock the Force Unbound skill, you can sprint while charging, giving you the perfect setup for a powerful opening strike. Imagine you're facing a big, bad boss. You sprint in, fully charged, and wham! You deliver a crushing blow that sets the tone for the rest of the fight. It's like throwing the first punch in a bar brawl. It lets the enemy know you mean business. Quick recovery, dodge, and get back in the fight. Here's a little trick the game doesn't outright tell you. If you get knocked down, you don't have to just lie there and take it. By pressing the dodge button right after getting knocked down, you can recover quickly and jump back into the fight. This can be a lifesaver, especially when you're up against bosses who love to chain their attacks together. Quick recovery not only gets you back on your feet faster, but also helps you avoid taking additional damage. Plus, it gives you a chance to create some distance if you need to heal or catch your breath. It's like bouncing back after a bad joke. You recover quickly and move on. Deflecting projectiles. Spin that staff. Let's talk about projectiles. In Black Myth Wukong, running away from a hail of arrows or magical bolts is one way to survive. But there's a better option: staff spin. This move lets you deflect incoming projectiles, turning defense into offense. While the game highlights its effectiveness against arrows, you'll find that staff spin can deflect all sorts of nasty projectiles, even from bosses. And here's the real deal. If you invest in the mobile spin skill in the martial arts tree, you can spin your staff while moving forward. This lets you close the distance while staying safe from ranged attacks. So instead of dodging like crazy, you can strut right up to your enemy, deflecting their shots and ready to deliver a smackdown as soon as you're in range. Now, all this talk about skills and strategies is great, but let's not forget the basics. Your gear. In Black Myth Wukong, having the right weapon and armor can make all the difference. As you progress through the game, you'll find crafting materials that let you upgrade your gear. Don't sleep on these upgrades. They can boost your attack power, defense, and even give you some nifty bonuses like elemental effects. Whenever you come across new crafting materials, make it a habit to check the nearest keeper's shrine. See what new gear you can craft, and if it's better than what you've got, don't hesitate to upgrade. Trust me, having top-tier gear will make those tough fights a whole lot easier. But remember, it's not just about the stats. Some pieces of gear come with unique abilities that can be game changers in certain situations. For example, if you're fighting in a watery area and you've got armor that enhances your abilities in water, use it. Even if its stats are slightly lower than your other gear, the right gear for the right situation can be the difference between victory and defeat. Medicine's your secret weapon. Alright, let's get real for a second. There are going to be times when you're stuck on a boss fight and nothing seems to work. That's when it's time to break out the big guns, medicines. These consumable items can give you a serious edge, offering boosts like increased damage, reduced damage taken, or resistance to certain status effects. If you've been hoarding these items, it's time to start using them. And don't worry about running out. The game gives you plenty of opportunities to craft more. Ingredients for medicines are scattered throughout the game world, usually glowing so they're easy to spot. You'll also unlock the ability to craft better medicines as you progress, so don't hesitate to use them when you're in a tight spot. Finally, let's talk about all the tools the game gives you. We're talking about spirit skills, transformations, and spells. These abilities aren't just there to look cool, they're incredibly useful in combat, and knowing when to use each one is crucial. For instance, if you're running low on stamina and an enemy is charging at you, use the Immobilize spell to stop them in their tracks and buy yourself some time. And don't forget about transformations. They give you a whole new set of moves and an extra health bar, which can be a game changer in boss fights. Use them at the start of a fight to deal extra damage and conserve your gourd charges for later. The key to mastering combat in the game is to use everything at your disposal. Don't be afraid to experiment with different strategies, gear, and abilities. The game is tough, but with the right approach, you can turn the tide in your favor. So there you have it, a complete guide to mastering combat in Black Myth Wukong. Whether you're dodging like a pro, deflecting projectiles with style, or unleashing devastating focus-charged attacks, these tips and tricks will help you take on even the toughest bosses. Remember, it's all about strategy, timing, and using the tools the game gives you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment below, and smash that subscribe button to stay updated with all our latest videos.